The last 7 days in the Championship have been absolutely mental, especially regarding the race for automatic promotion. That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. We're going to be looking into the top 4 sides, analysing their likelihood for promotion this season, looking at their remaining fixtures, the fixture difficulty of those matches, the form book right now, and what some of the underlying stats are saying. I'd love to get your guys' perspectives on these 4 teams in the comments down below. Out of Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich and Southampton, who do you think is going up in those top 2 spots? As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. But without any further ado, let's jump in. The first thing to take into consideration with these sides, I think, is the form book. And let's look at the form table for the Championship from the start of the calendar year of 2024 up until now. This gives us a clear indication of which sides are really fit and firing at the moment. And obviously, this one is massively in Leeds United's favour. Since the start of the calendar year, Daniel Farke's men have been absolutely relentless, winning all 9 of their matches so far and picking up a maximum of 27 points. Of the fellow candidates that are going for automatic promotion right now, it is Ipswich who are second best off on this list, having picked up 18 points from their last 9 matches, averaging a really respectable 2 points per game, which is keeping them in the race for automatic promotion. But then we do have to drop a little bit further down the Championship to then get to Southampton and Leicester, where there has been an obvious drop-off in recent weeks. Don't get me wrong, 16 points from 9 matches is by no means disastrous, but with how relentless Leeds especially have been of late, a little bit of a slip in form like that can be quite catastrophic when one of your fellow promotion rivals is being absolutely relentless. I think in the case of Leicester especially, it did feel like for the vast majority of this season that they already had the league title wrapped up, but with back-to-back losses for Enzo Maresca's side and that latest defeat coming away at Ellen Road, suddenly that does seem to be in jeopardy a little bit. I think a critical thing to look into for each of these 4 promotion contenders is the remaining fixture list between now and the end of the season. Let's start out with Leicester City, as they are the side top of the Championship right now. Immediately the month of March jumps off the page. They've got this next game against QPR in the league before then facing Sunderland, Hull and Southampton. A trio of matches there which are going to be absolutely decisive to whether or not Leicester can hold on to their spot in first place. I think some other noteworthy matches for Leicester between now and the end of the season are against Norwich, West Brom and maybe Preston as well, if we are still in promotion contention by then. The average league position of Leicester's opponents that they face between now and the end of the season is 11.8. Compared to the other 4 promotion rivals they're going up against, Leicester have the second hardest run-in between now and the end of the season, and that's worth remembering when then looking into some of these fixture lists. Next up then, let's go to Leeds United. They are the form team in the Championship right now. They've been absolutely relentless of late, and we did mention this a few times earlier on in the season that generally speaking, Daniel Farke's sides do have the tendency to really click into gear in the back end of the season. We've seen him do it with Norwich previously, and it feels like that's what's happening with Leeds right now. All of their forwards fit and firing at the moment, playing some great football, and it felt like that result against Leicester especially, with how it came about, a late turnaround at Ellen Road, that really could spur them on for the remainder of the season. Now, along with being the form side in the Championship, Leeds also have a massive advantage on their fellow promotion rivals, sheerly for the fact that on paper they do have the easiest run-in between now and the end of the season based on the fixtures they've still got to play. Don't get me wrong, there are still some really tricky games in here. Games against the likes of Hull, Coventry and Southampton especially won't be easy. Even some potential banana skins away to Huddersfield and Sheffield Wednesday as well, also worth watching out for. But the average league position of the opponents that Leeds still have to face this season is just 14.5, which is significantly better in some cases than their fellow promotion rivals. And I really think that those little advantages you can gain on your promotion rivals when the points are so high absolutely can make all the difference. Now, don't get me wrong, the Championship is mental enough where there will be some upsets thrown in here for Leeds between now and the end of the season. You know, we've seen it all before. I wouldn't be surprised if a side like Blackburn maybe on the 13th of April come up with a shock win away at Ellen Road. But Leeds have 2 big things going in their favour right now. 1, they're the form side in the league. 2, on paper, they have the easiest run in. The next side we have to touch on is Ipswich Town, and dare I say it, I do think the track Factor boys have gone somewhat under the radar perhaps in recent weeks. I think because there's been so much media attention with Leeds of late, and rightly so. They've been on an absolutely cracking run of form and they do occupy that spot in second right now. But Ipswich are level with points on Leeds, albeit their goal difference isn't quite as good, but they are clicking back into form at just the right point of the season. I think when making those comparisons between Ipswich and Leeds, I think it's probably fair to say that Ipswich maybe aren't playing as well as Leeds are right now, but they're scoring a hell of a lot of goals. But their January business has really aided them, and what we've seen from this Ipswich side previously is that when the wins start to roll in, especially at Portman Road, they can be absolutely unstoppable, especially from a goal scoring point of view. Taking a close look at Ipswich's fixtures between now and the end of the season, they do have a slightly harder run-in than Leeds, but it is worth stressing that on paper they do have an easier run-in than both Southampton and Leicester, and that really could play to their advantage. The average league position of Ipswich's opponents between now and the end of the season is 12.4, so definitely a harder running than Leeds have, but it is easier than Leicester and Southampton, which is worth stressing. Key matches for Ipswich between now and the end of the season are those games against Southampton, Norwich and Hull City especially. The fact that that game against Southampton is at Portman Road though, I think really goes into Ipswich's favour for that head-to-head battle. Kieran McKenna's men will be right up for that, but the fact they've got Southampton immediately followed by the East Anglian derby against Norwich, yeah, that one's going to be really tasty. The final side to look into their fixtures is then Southampton, and there's no denying that things have got away from the Saints recently after going on that unbelievably good unbeaten run which stretched to 22 matches in total. They've now lost 3 of their last 4 matches and have quite significantly fallen behind the pace of their competitors. It's a 5-point gap that Southampton need to make up on both Ipswich and Leeds at this point, so not quite as big as the gap between Leeds and Leicester, but definitely some work to be done there. The thing that goes against Southampton in this run as well is looking at their fixtures. On paper, they do have the hardest run-in between now and the end of the season based on those top 4 sides. The average league position of Southampton's opponents between now and the end of the season is 10.6, so by quite some distance Southampton do have the hardest run-in. What could prove to be really tricky for Russell Martin's men as well is the fact that they've got Leicester, Ipswich and Leeds all still to play, and all 3 of those matches are away games. With Southampton having points to make up on those sides, it feels like if they want to leapfrog them, they're going to need to go into those games looking for a win, whereas a draw may suit the home sides in those particular fixtures. I would love to get to a scenario where promotion is still on the line come the final game week of the season for both Leeds and Southampton, because that game at Ellen Road would be absolute carnage. But there is a chance if Southampton don't flip around this form quite sharpishly that it could be the playoffs for them and that they may not even be playing for automatic promotion come the final day of the season if that points difference continues to grow. So based on the metrics as things stand for these 4 sides, Leicester are going to finish the season with 106 points, Leeds and Ipswich with 97 and Southampton with 91. That's if they maintain their seasonal form between now and the end of the season. However, I'm not quite sure that's how things are going to unfold. If I had to have a gut feeling on this right now, I don't think that Leicester will finish on 106 points. I think they'll be slightly worse off than that. Dare I say it, I think that Leeds could even be higher than 97 points, and we could end the season in a scenario where both Leicester and Leeds, and maybe even Ipswich, finish the campaign with over 100 points, which would be absolutely ridiculous. Southampton, I'm by no means writing off, but a loss of form at this stage of the season, coupled with a really tough fixture run-in, it does start to tip the scales of probability in the other team's favours. That's how the current race for the top 2 is shaping up. If I had to go on a gut feeling right now, and obviously a lot can change over these next few weeks, I do think that Leicester will still hold on to that top spot. I think with a 6-point buffer at the moment and with a few winnable games coming up, I would still expect them to hold out for that top spot, albeit maybe not quite as comfortably as I'd first predicted it. And the second spot, I'm really not writing off anyone here, but I do think it is probably Leeds who I am currently edging towards, given the current form book, the amount of goals they're scoring, and also the fixture running looking quite favourable for them as well. Going off a gut feeling, they'd probably be my top 2 right now, and that is a change from a few months ago. But I'll be interested to get your takes in the comments down below. Who are you currently swaying towards in the race for the top 2? I'm sure we've got plenty more twists and turns to come between now and the end of the campaign. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.